Hello, and welcome to Developmental Talent. Your ears are about to be crammed full of the most action-packed wrestling podcast on the entire fucking planet. And it's exclusively on freaksugar.com. Now, here's your host, hailing from parts unknown, Lemon Juice McGee.
Hey everybody, glad to be back for another episode of Developmental Talent, the Freak Sugar exclusive pro wrestling podcast. With me tonight is Matt Pierce.
Hey guys, in the early 90s, I went and toured Jesse and the Rippers. I had the tattoo to prove it.
And Hoagie Masters.
Hogamania is here running wild, folks.
Normally we kind of just kick things off to a first segment, but I think tonight we're going to get into a little bit of some other podcasts, a couple huge podcasts this week. First was the internet-destroying Art of Wrestling with Colt Cabana, where he interviewed CM Punk. Actually, it was really more of a forum for CM Punk to speak his mind about his leaving the WWE. And then on Monday night, post-Raw on the network, a live Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast where he interviewed Vincent K. McMahon. What's your general thoughts on that, Hoagie? We'll start with Punk's.
Okay, the Punk one, I mean, very informative about everything that was going on with Punk. Going back to, I believe, back before the pipe bomb incident and everything occurred, problems he was having health-wise and just frustrated with the company. And that it kept building and building and building with all different types of things. Like he talked about Ryback. Ryback broke his ribs. And he had knee injuries and this on and on and on. And I don't blame the guy for leaving. And he left, he had a lot of medical issues. Like he literally went to the doctor and they said he had a staph infection.
And he should be dead.
Yeah, he could have died from it because it wasn't being treated. But it was a really, really good podcast.
Now, something I did notice is early on he talked about the concussion test, and he said how much of a joke it was. Now, I've not heard anyone else speak on the concussion test. He said he passed it while having a concussion, texting someone and listening to music on his headphones. The tests are not going to cover everybody. So I think a lot of what you can bring to this from Punk's perspective is that his experience wasn't a good one. His personality being what it was, which even is brought up several times, and Punk even admits it himself that he's not the best people person.
Yes, he and I share the fact that we were both massive assholes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But and I think there's a lot of weight behind the fact Colt even said it himself that a lot of the time whenever Punk was trying to communicate to people that he was actually hurt, these people are the same people he's been like yelling down for the last however long he's been there, and they just didn't want to deal with him. So it's a communication breakdown, which even Vince touched on Stone Cold's podcast. But I feel like it's probably one of those things where we got as much of an answer as we'll ever get on it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he was up front from his point of view on everything. You know, and you could tell the frustration between getting an injury, being told some bullshit you have to do, getting another injury, taking some time off, coming back early. But at the same time, he said that he wanted to come back early time to keep. But you know, you wanted that. The longer you're out of the spotlight, the quicker people forget about it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's definitely true.
It was one of those things he got burned out. And finally, you know, there was that last straw, and that was it. I don't know. It's surprisingly enough on Stone Cold's podcast, Stone Cold asked Vince, "Do you want to talk about Punk?" And Vince did. I fully expected a no answer to that. You know, nope. Vince went to, and the first thing that Vince did, which I thought was great, because Punk brought this up, and you could tell that it was one of those jabs that I feel like, I mean, and none of us know either of these guys or what they're really thinking, but it seemed to me as a listener, while Punk was talking, when he was talking about being served his termination papers on his wedding day, that it was almost like a Triple H served me these papers on my wedding day like a cocksucker.
Yeah.
Vince personally apologized and claimed that it just so happened that the way the stuff was mailed out, that's just the way it fell, and it was a complete coincidence. And I feel like that was kind of a big sticking point as far as like after I left, they kept that was a thing, and that Vince was just. I mean, Vince seemed sincere in his apology on that.
Yes.
I'll say.
I feel like that's the thing. That's why Punk won't be back. I feel like that he has it of everything that happened. That's the one thing that in his mind he can say, "Well, I had nothing to do with that. They fucking fired me the day I was married. Fuck all of them." And like you said, I think Triple H is a lot of the reason why it happened.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Triple H doesn't like Punk. Punk doesn't like Triple H, and those personalities clash to the point where it basically put Vince in the middle of it. And Vince. I think if Triple H hadn't been involved, I think it would have been one of those things where Punk went away for a while, maybe the whole summer, and then he came back.
Kind of like Stone Cold.
Yeah, kind of like Stone Cold.
Well, like Vince on Stone Cold's podcast, he was real sincere about everything. I mean, he legitimately was like, I'd be open to work with him again and everything. And I mean, I believe Vince wished it would have went differently. He even said, like Austin brought it up, like when Austin left in 2002, JR was there to help kind of mend the fences between him and Vince. If there had been somebody to do that between Punk and Vince, maybe Punk would still been around.
That's true. Another thing about just Stone Cold's podcast, Stone Cold is an absolute neutral party investigator and reporter type guy.
Yeah.
He was asking questions that you could tell Vince did not like him asking.
No, he did.
Yeah. That completely made him uncomfortable, or that he didn't really understand how to answer. I think Vince kind of showed how much of himself he's given to the business, that he's not really... Like, he's a real person, but outside of wrestling, there's not much to Vince McMahon, and he doesn't... He says he's not disconnected from the audience, but he is.
I think that was the most uncomfortable,
Yeah.
was when he was asked, how can you be in touch? Or how's it, how do you stay in touch? How are you in touch? And he was just like, I listen to the audience.
Yeah.
I don't listen to critics. And it's like, critics are your audience. We're critical.
Yeah.
And we are the audience. We're the ones he talked about people watch, and no matter what they're watching for 3 hours, they're going to turn it to football and stuff. You know what? We don't change the fucking channel. We watch Raw from beginning to end. All 3 hours, whether they're stinky or good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is a disconnect with Vince and the audience, just because I think Vince has given so much of himself to the business that he doesn't have time to really look at the audience.
Yeah.
Going back to Austin being the neutral party and asking the hard questions, he asked 2 more that were kind of tough on Vince. One was the finish of the Undertaker Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania 30. Whose decision it was and everything like that. And then the other one was, will we ever see Macho Man Randy Savage in the Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Which Vince said he will, but would not give a time frame for it. He said soon. That's all he would say.
Soon. He answered that one pretty immediately. The Undertaker one, he took time to answer more carefully. And I don't know if that's because he doesn't want people to know sort of the behind the scenes of what goes on, or if because maybe it's one of those things where Vince legitimately a little bit regrets what he done.
He seemed like he was behind his decision. He took full heat for it.
Yeah.
He took full... It was his call.
Yeah.
It wasn't... And Mark Calloway... I was surprised to hear him use his name.
Yeah.
Said it was completely his call to do. But he seemed kind of defensive. I mean, guarded defensive about it.
Yeah.
But almost in the way that he didn't want to be like, fuck that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know. But overall, both of them are great podcasts. Stone Cold's, of course, will be on the WWE Network for eternity. The Colt Cabana Art of Wrestling CM Punk episode, you can try to listen to it. It's been down on iTunes. It's been down on the TMS radio. Colt Cabana's site, it's down because it goes through that. The internet is really wanting to listen to this. Running a podcast, I know the importance of plays and downloads. And I always want to listen to people's podcasts through the correct channels because, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, they're free anyway. However, I had to listen to it on YouTube through someone who recorded it simply because there was no other way for me to listen to it. And I'm subscribed to the podcast and I could not listen to it. But it's that big of a deal. It's that big of a deal that you should listen to it. If you're interested in wrestling, you should listen to that Punk explanation no matter which way you can.
But I think it's important that people not listen to it and then make it more than what it is. All it really was, and Punk even says it, he says, all I'm doing is airing my side of the grievances, what happened. Mm-hmm. He's not burying the WWE. He's not trying to, throw anybody under a bus or anything. He's just saying from his perspective, in his frame of mind at the time, which he admits is even a little bit messed up, that this is what happened. Mm-hmm. He says he's in a happier place now, and he waited long enough to talk about it that I think that this is probably as clear an answer from him as we'll ever get.
Yeah. Well, I think it works it away for... And I'm a big fan of CM Punk, mm-hmm. but really pissed me off that he just left like that.
Yeah.
This makes me not as pissed. Like, I feel like for people who are fans and they feel slighted, like he left you and he gave up on wrestling and, this has you see the side of things that he left on and mm-hmm. the physical toll it was taken on him and the mental toll and, I mean, leaving wrong out of a contract or not, like, you get why he did it. To where I can't really fault the guy, like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Which, Colt and Punk are actually going to do another podcast for their next week episode where fans can send an email mm-hmm. to them any question they want to ask about the whole situation or just ask Punk a question in general. Yeah. They can send it and they're going to talk about it on the next week's show.
Yeah. And this last episode was 2 hours. I don't know if this coming one will be. I'm actually not going to give you the email address on here. You can listen to the interview like everybody else and get it from that. So, yeah, a couple really good podcasts this week. And while we're at it, thank you for listening to this one. We've been going pretty well. This is our 8th episode. And we're hoping you stick around for the 9th.
And the 10th.
And the 10th. And possibly the 11th, assuming we're all not dead. So, let's get into the first segment while we have a chance.
Keeping it raw.
Welcome to Keeping It Raw, the segment where we cover most of Monday Night Raw. We skipped it last week thanks to the pay-per-view post-play. So we're covering 2 weeks of Raw. And you know what? There really hasn't been jack shit going on for the past 2 weeks. It's like 6 hours of almost nothing.
Well, Brian showed up.
Brian did show up. That was awesome.
He was the guest host of Raw.
Yeah. But before that, we'll kick those at the beginning.
Yeah.
Post-Survivor Series, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon come out to the ring, cry and whine, leave, get browbeaten by Vince, thrown in a limo, out the door. The authority legitimately over as far as storylines go in WWE presently.
Well, that's something else I thought about watching Raw these last 2 weeks. Kane's still chief operating officer, development officer, whatever. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't he, by default now, be the authority? He's the highest ranking corporate official on the show.
Well, he is corporate Kane.
Yeah.
Which Daniel Bryan made him director of food and beverages on Raw last week.
Yeah. They made him work the concession stand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just remember Battlestar Galactica where the chick is like the director of education and she's the president of the whole universe. Mm-hmm. I feel like Kane should probably be in charge of the authority. Storyline snafu, WWE.
That's true. Maybe he just loves wearing those slacks. They just can't get him out of them.
Well, doesn't in real life he actually sell insurance? Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Knoxville.
That's probably why he likes it. Makes him feel comfortable.
They breathe.
The question is does he wear the elbow pads under his dress shirt?
So the answer is yes.
Yeah, just all the time. Yeah. His arms are just beat red and bruised from the circulation cut off all the time. His elbow pads.
If we're not talking about Raw a lot, it's because not a lot happened. Daniel Bryan said that Rusev had to either face the entire locker room in an over-the-top rope battle royale for the United States title, or get to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag.
Which Lana started to. They had Sergeant Slaughter come out to try to help them recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and Rusev stopped it. And it's always going to have a showdown between Slaughter and Rusev, and then Swagger interfered. And
He did. He came out,
But again,
swagging it up.
Slaughter was browbeating Lana to the point where, like, she was almost in tears. I don't understand why Rusev's the bad guy in any of this.
Slaughter was forcing
Yeah.
the Pledge of Allegiance upon her.
Yeah. She had
Just like other cultures believe America has forced our culture on everyone else.
It was, I don't know, man. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, she was terrified for her life because his giant chin was going to stab her to death.
I'm surprised she didn't wipe her face off like DX used to do.
Well, Rusev
With the
did.
spit.
Rusev did.
He
yeah.
did?
Yeah. Also, the Bellas no longer hate each other.
Out
Yeah.
of nowhere.
Yeah, that's the most random thing.
They just squashed all that. She was like, maybe being her personal assistant for 30 days showed her how true of a sister she needed to be.
It's a good bonding moment for him.
Like that last minute, it just snapped, and she was like, "I love you, Nikki. I'm going to help you win this belt."
Yeah.
I don't know. It's random. It's random. AJ Lee, though, had a really good promo. Yeah, she told the Bellas that talent was not sexually transmitted.
Yes, for you guys who don't know, how you could not know listen to this wrestling podcast, I don't fucking know. Maybe you just stumbled upon it. But Nikki Bella is currently with John Cena. Brie Bella married to Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Which it was kind of, not really hypocritical, but kind of funny coming from AJ Lee, who's married to CM Punk.
It's true.
True.
It's true. Then at the end of it, the little, like, 1998 AOL you got mail ding happened, and Michael
Yes.
Cole, happy that he had a role to play in life again, stood up at the podium.
The podium that I didn't notice the entire night until that
Yeah,
happened.
it was just randomly there because
Yeah.
the main event was it was Cena and Ziggler versus Rollins and J&J Security.
trained
voted on by the WWE Universe.
That's
and
true.
trained by SEAL Team 6.
According
Yes.
to JBL.
Yeah. But Cole stood up and done the whole "and I quote" thing. And apparently the Raw Anonymous General Manager's back. And then his little mail messenger thing broke. It went off like a million
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, ding, 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 over and over. So I guess maybe that's what Triple H meant when he was like, "It could be worse." It's like it's
That
worse.
is worse.
It's
Yeah.
worse.
That is
Yes,
worse.
that is worse.
There's only one person that could possibly make it even worse. Mike Adamle. Do y'all remember him? The guy that used to be on American Gladiators. He was the general manager for like an 08 for a little while.
Yeah, he had no idea about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this week happened. It was Cyber Monday. And Cyber Monday is it's the fan vote gimmick thing happened.
There used to be a pay-per-view,
Yeah.
Cyber Sunday,
And Taboo Tuesday, yeah.
where everyone would vote on the matches online. Tonight, for Cyber Monday, other than the fact that they showed multiple WWE shop coupon sale codes to put in for 25% off, which is a great sale, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They had the one-app vote, which they always fucking have.
Yeah.
And they had the random electronic GM do one thing at the first of the show.
Yeah.
That was it,
'Cause
right?
it was announced online most of the matches for the night. Before, as they said by the announcer or general manager, though.
Yeah.
The only thing that the announcer general manager announced was at TLC, it's going to be Rollins versus Cena in a tables match. And if Cena loses, he loses his number one contendership.
Which, I'm fine with that.
But
I guess.
yeah.
I really
not
want to see
to
him fight Brock
Rollins?
again.
Or actually, he didn't get to finish what would happen.
Technically, Rollins number one contender anytime he wants to be.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, he's like 1A contender, I guess.
Yeah.
But Cole didn't get to really finish what would happen to the contendership because Cena cut him off because he won't stand for it.
And Cena got put through a table for that, too.
He did.
Well, not for that, per se, but I feel like to Michael Cole, he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You at that table.
You don't mess with the coal miner. You don't mess with the coal miner. You get the shaft.
Yeah, I mean, Raw tonight, honestly, Raw tonight was me mostly being excited to watch the Stone Cold podcast.
Yeah. There was one more really cool thing that happened, and that was at the end of the show. Eric Rowan comes down to the ring. They're having a big brawl and Big Show's out there and everything. Carrying a thing of steel steps.
Oh, yeah, let's preface that. Yeah. Earlier in the night, not only is it revealed that Eric Rowan is a genius and a winemaker, but Big Show throws some stairs down on him. They bounce on the mat just due to, I mean, it's total accidental. But the corner catches Rowan right in his fucking head.
Yeah.
And he I'm sure that hurt like hell. So it's funny that, yes, later that night, he comes down the ramp with the extra set of stairs.
Yeah, he's just packing them and just killing people
with this giant goose egg on his head.
Yeah, yeah. But they did ask him why he's fighting the Big Show. And he lifts his mask up and says he's a bully. Put it back down. So they continue the whole Eric Rowan hates bullies.
Yeah.
And Miz got the shit slapped out of him.
Oh, yeah. Miz gave his card to
Naomi?
Naomi, yeah. Said he liked her music video and could hook her up with the producer and gave her, as far as I know, the producer's card. Oh, her husband didn't like that.
No.
No. He slapped the headphones right off of Miz.
Yeah.
And it looked, I mean, that was a legit slap.
Yeah,
that was a good slap.
Pretty rough.
It was a good slap.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, though, The Miz, I feel like at least once a month or so should get legitimately slapped.
That's true.
Or punched. Like back when the Authority was telling the Big Show, punch him, and he was crying about it. The one person he didn't even like hesitate was Miz. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
He's
like,
like,
out of him.
I'll hit him again. You want me to? I don't care.
Yeah. If you're wondering, we made such a big deal about Sting. I mean, we talked about the guy for probably 20 fucking minutes. We talked about him more than he was on Survivor Series. Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
They slightly talked about him a little. Triple H did and Stephanie, but that's really about
Going back to the Stone Cold podcast, Stone Cold asked him about Sting. Vince's opinion of Sting is that he's a character that doesn't need to be on TV that often, which I sort of agree with.
Yeah.
And he said, I wouldn't be surprised to see him at WrestleMania, which probably means Sting won't be back until WrestleMania.
Yeah,
or at least the road to WrestleMania.
But they'd have to build something for an actual match, I'm sure, not just be an appearance. But Vince also thinks you don't need the belt.
Yeah.
You don't need the title because the title doesn't make Raw. That's his explanation for Brock Lesnar being on TV for twice a year.
Which,
yeah.
Your champion should be the face of your company.
Yeah.
Should be the one that promotes the company and everything like that. But
yeah, I felt like it'd be different if Brock was out doing a lot of press.
Yeah, he's going home to Minnesota. He's hunting bears.
Well, like when The Rock won the title. Yeah. He was doing talk shows and stuff. Like, it wasn't like he was just gone.
He was promoting his movies.
Or maybe like the 425 days CM Punk was champion, and he was on radio shows and Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he was also on Raw each week, too. We're talking about kind of like the, the being gone with an excuse. And they're surely, I don't know, that whole situation with Brock, it is getting more and more ridiculous every week. Like, it's just, I don't care he's champion.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to keep him still in the storyline, though, because they have Heyman. Like, he showed up on Raw tonight via satellite, talking about Lesnar and if Cena loses number one contendership and all this. And, like, on the pre-shows, they'll have him talk.
Yeah.
And that's usually about it.
Now, Heyman brought up a point that I think sounds like a valid point, but in actuality, it's ridiculous. He said, Christmas is great and presents and stuff, but you don't do Christmas every day because it gets old.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's not Christmas. Brock Lesnar is more like, I don't know, it's like
the 4th of July. He's a bunch of fireworks. Bunch of sweaty fireworks with a shit-eating grin on his face after he murders somebody.
Well, it's like Arbor Day because here comes the pain. I don't know. But, no, Brock Lesnar isn't that at all. It's like, okay, it'd be like if you were a fan of a football team and your quarterback played 3 games a year. That's what Brock Lesnar's doing.
Yeah. But I understand the special event status Brock Lesnar he's saying. But I feel like that makes sense for matches. I don't feel like that makes sense for appearances.
Right.
Like, seeing Brock Lesnar in person isn't going to diminish the fact that you know he's going to do something insane in the ring, and you're going to wait for that. Not seeing him, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, and ultimately what they're doing is they're trying to stretch a long way to cover the fact that Brock Lesnar had him by the balls when he came back.
Yeah.
And said, I only want to work 5 times a year. And they're like, okay, well, whatever. Yeah, we'll give you $100 million 5 times a year.
They're making up for signing a stupid contract that they regret.
Yeah.
By not putting on the face that they regret it.
Which years ago, they had a thing, if you didn't defend the title within 30 days, you're stripped of it.
Stripped of it. Yep.
There was, I don't know, Edge got stripped of the IC belt one time.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Fucking Daniel Bryan got stripped of it.
Oh, yeah.
Dolph Ziggler, they stripped him of the belt because he couldn't defend it.
Yeah.
And he was actually hurt. So, I don't know. And also, I remember Vince, back in the day, we don't give guaranteed money, we give opportunities. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure you guaranteed Brock Lesnar a shit ton of money to wrestle 5 times a year.
Yeah.
I mean, Sting, a 55-year-old Sting who's not been a world champion in a while, has been on television more than your world champion has in the last 3 months. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
Plus, he's doing promotion for the game.
He's doing promotion for the game.
Brock went on a commercial.
Sting is now the new face of WWE.
I'd rather Sting be the
new
face.
old face of WWE.
I'd rather it be Sting. Hey, you just paint it over, man. You can't tell. That's age. I don't know, man. It's frustrating. Because I get it. I get Brock's a big deal. It's like a boxer. They only box like twice a year. But boxing also only on like 5 times a year, you know? Like Mayweather wrestles, or not wrestles, I'm sorry, he boxes twice, like 3 times a year. But they don't have boxing that millions of people watch every week.
Yeah, with quote unquote like boxing reality shows cramming their drama into every bit of it.
In a boxing channel for $9.99 that you can't even get the champion of your company to be on because he's too busy up in Minnesota killing deer with his bare hands or whatever he does. I don't know. German suplexing bear. I don't know.
Sable's just clapping. He's clapping for him.
Yelling at people.
You got it, honey. Don't take any pictures of us.
Yeah. Yelling at fans. Champion of your company does not take pictures with fans. That's what you want, Vince. Way to go. I don't know, man. I'm over Brock.
That was a tangent we got on because Raw has sucked for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's not even really that it sucked. It's just, man, it's not been memorable.
Well, Daniel Bryan came back.
Oh, there's the thing. The New Day premiered on Raw tonight. They were on SmackDown, but SmackDown doesn't count. So they were on Raw tonight. And I dig it.
Well, to all you people saying it's just Nation Domination ripoff, it's not at all.
No, it's not. It's a Brother Love ripoff.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's different.
I like their gear. I like the symbol they got with the phoenix or whatever with the sun above it. Like all that. This shit looks nice.
Yeah.
And they're a good team anyway. I always thought they were good before when they were teaming up unofficially. And then now they've done. I like to do the. I guess it wasn't rock paper scissors. I guess it was even in odds for who gets to be the 2 guys in the tag match. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
And 2 of those guys, Big E and Xavier Woods, are really good in the mic. Big E, you wouldn't think. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times he does say stupid things, trying to be funny. But you can tell.
It works with this.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
Him doing like the preacher voice and
Yeah. And Xavier Woods is awesome because.
Yeah. Which also, another guy that we have not seen in a while came back tonight. R-Truth.
He did. And then he just disappeared.
After the match with Bray Wyatt, vanished.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you go to Bray Wyatt's house, do not hurt his rocking chair. He'll cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dean broke his chair.
Dean broke the chair. And it was just disastrous.
I mean, they're building Bray and Dean up to be... It's going to be the match for TLC. Mm-hmm. Well, it is the table, ladder, and chair match.
The main event.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know what? Still not going to be. You know it's not.
Probably not.
I mean, even though that's supposed to be the main event, it's supposed to build up to that. As stupid as it is, all the matches aren't TLC matches. You got your chairs matches, which they haven't announced yet. You got your tables match. Then you got your TLC match. Yeah, we're pretty sure Cena and Rollins will be. Now, unless they just go, shit, they tore it down at Survivor Series, we're giving them the main event.
Which,
And then we're going to have Sting show up. Like,
I'd say more than likely, if they do a straight-up ladder match,
yeah.
it'll be probably Ziggler and Harper for the IC belt.
IC belt, yeah.
Because Ziggler had a ladder, pulled out a ladder, did not. And
Harper beat him with
yeah.
it.
And they'll do something for the tag title, too.
Usos won number 1 contendership again.
Yeah.
So we get to see them
gonna
fight
be
for the belts
final
again.
match.
Well, they'll do something for it. You know, it'll be like I don't know.
I feel like at TLC, every match should at least be a no disqualification match at the least.
Yeah.
You know? Because... But they don't even do that at Extreme Rules. So
what I thought they should do, I thought there should be a pay-per-view called something that's not TLC, and they should have TLC matches on pay-per-view.
Well, like Elimination Chamber or Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Like, use it as a device,
Yeah.
not make a thing about
Like,
it.
Yeah.
No Mercy. Okay, well, No Mercy is we're going to have a TLC match. And then they have the TLC match. It's the tentpole for the pay-per-view. And then they have matches after and before. That's fine. The TLC match matters more than.
Yeah, well, Hoagie and I were talking about it earlier, and I was saying that they're not doing Elimination Chamber pay-per-view now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would be a great way to get the title off of Brock without him losing it, quote-unquote, by being pinned. Have a fucking Elimination Chamber at WrestleMania or at Royal Rumble or something. You know, like, make it to where you can take it off of him and go, okay, go on your merry way back to UFC or whatever you want to do. You know? Fuck, give it to Cena. I don't even care anymore. I just want to see people be able to defend it.
Jamie Noble could be the champion.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I mean...
Well, that's the thing. Okay, I got to see Brock fight Cena at Night of Champions, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was there. It was great. However, had I been at Survivor Series, I would have been at a pay-per-view and have not seen a title match for the world title.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
bullshit.
Yeah, it's one of the big 4.
Yeah, like if you pay to go to an event, fuck. Like, I thought I was pissed about that finish. If I had went and there was no title match at all, I mean, that's, even though you gotta go into it, there's not gonna be. Man, that's kind of a disappointing. You know, it's just it does mean something. Like, Vince downplayed how much the title means.
Yeah. Well, I think in Survivor Series, the highest singles title that was defended was the Divas belt.
Mm-hmm.
And not to disparage the Divas belt, but WWE being what they are.
It's basically the equal of the US
It was
belt.
the only singles title defended.
Yeah.
Because Rusev and Ziggler, no, Harper, I mean, were in the
Survivor
5-on-5.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, yeah, the only singles title because there was the tag title.
Yeah, it was a tag title, yeah.
I mean, it would, like you said, it's like, well, halfway through the pay-per-view, we had a U.S. title match. What more do you want, people? Mm-hmm. We want a natural, legitimate... If Brock had been in the Authority team, the Authority team should have been Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, Kane, and I don't know.
Give him Harper.
And Harper, yeah.
That was a good...
That should have been the Authority team.
Yeah.
You know? But instead, it was like... I don't know. It's thrown together.
Corporate Kane is what it was.
It was Corporate Kane, yeah.
Yep.
It was Corporate Kane. I don't know. I don't know.
At the desk by day, wrestling by night.
Mm-hmm.
He just rips off his tie and his hat,
Yeah.
glasses.
No, just a tie, apparently.
What if he still got that box with the mask in and sitting on his desk?
You know,
the hair?
no,
Yeah.
Stephanie has it. She opens
Oh,
it
yeah.
once, and it screams at her, and she puts it back down. So none of this has anything to do with Raw because I don't know, filler Raws, I guess. That's what they feel like. They feel like filler episodes in the TV show.
Yeah, I mean, TLC's coming up really fast.
Yeah,
Basically, one more Raw till, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
And there's 3 matches announced.
Yeah, so it's yeah. I mean, we've basically been keeping it raw by talking about nothing because that's what Raw's been about for the last couple weeks.
About nothing.
And that's what you get, people. That's what you get when you're like, oh, they didn't talk about Raw. There's a fucking reason. We could have been talking about Ring of Honor this whole time right now, but no, we've been talking about
Lucha Underground
garbage.
or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And while WWE doesn't have any direct competition as far as ratings and challengers go, for our attention spans, they definitely do. So we're going to cut this segment right now.
This week in wrestling history.
Another 7 days have passed, and it's another time for This Week in Wrestling History. We're going to throw things off to our resident wrestling historian, Hoagie Masters, who's going to let us know what went down in the past. You know, I don't know, wrestling stuff from sometime.
Okay, this week in wrestling history, on December 4th, 1991, the WWF title was declared vacant due to a controversial finish of the 1991 Survivor Series match between Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker, and then the rematch that had took place at this Tuesday in Texas. Mm-hmm. Ric Flair was involved, helping The Undertaker win the title at Survivor Series, and then this Tuesday in Texas, I believe Hogan used a chair while the referee was down to get the win.
What a douche.
Yeah. Which this led to the 92 Royal Rumble, which was for the belt. First time they've ever done this, and the only time so far.
I love that shit. Tournaments for the titles.
Yeah. It was
one night only pay-per-views. I love it. Wrestling multiple times.
Is that one where Flair went coast to coast with that?
Yeah, he went from number 3. He entered at number 3 and won.
That's my favorite Rumble, just because of Bobby Heenan. Whenever Piper comes out and he helps out Flair inadvertently, and he's like, "Oh, it's not a skirt," and then he tries to throw out Flair. He's like, "Oh, you skirt wearing jerk!"
Yeah, like Heenan was freaking out through the whole thing, like. Because I don't know if he had money put on Flair or what the deal. I think he was like his manager.
Well, he brought Flair in, the real world champion.
Yeah, he acted like he had money on it though, the way he said
it. And Flair in WWE, that was my favorite work of Flair too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because he didn't have the Horseman.
When he came in with the belt,
he was the real world champion.
And everything.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Another title getting vacated. The world title, the big gold belt, was vacated on December 6, 2004. Due to another controversial ending. It was on Raw. It was a triple threat match between Triple H, Chris Benoit, and Edge. Triple H been taken out. He was out on the floor pretty much, and Benoit had the crossface on Edge. Mm-hmm. And Edge somehow maneuvered it into a pin. The ref counted 1, 2, 3, but Edge tapped at the exact same time. Mm-hmm. So they didn't know who the winner was. So they decided to vacate the title, and then that set up a elimination chamber at New Year's Revolution. Mm-hmm. Between, I believe it was Benoit, Edge, Jericho, Batista, Triple H, and Randy Orton, with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee.
Well, they did that one other time, too, with Undertaker and Kurt Angle, where I think Angle had him in a guillotine or something. And, and Taker laid him down on the mat and was pinning him, technically, because the shoulders were down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he was tapping out.
Yeah.
And I think there were 2 referees in this one or something. And they each one called for the bell because one said the Undertaker submitted and one said that he pinned Kurt Angle. Mm-hmm. So it's something that they've done a few times in the past. It's a good... If you use it sparingly, it's a good way to build toward an eventual resolution.
Which I guess you can say the same thing for, as we've seen, vacating the title.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that they do. Sometimes too often, especially in the past few years.
Yeah.
Abeyance had the title more than about anyone.
Yeah, Abeyance defended that title for a while.
But used in the right deal, like Royal Rumble...
Yeah,
you know, you can have it going because then you don't know who's going to get it, and of course then you have the rightful champion, of course, going after it afterwards, and all. You know, it builds some good storylines.
Yeah, it wraps itself.
What we got next, Toby?
As I mentioned, Elimination Chamber. This week also we saw the first ever Extreme Elimination Chamber, the ECW December to Dismember pay-per-view. This was the only. Well, other than the one night stands, the only pay-per-view ECW, the new ECW ever got.
And this was the Sci-Fi Channel ECW.
Yes.
Yeah. This was not the, we're bringing back classic ECW for a night.
Yeah.
This is what you get.
What it was Elimination Chamber between Big Show, who was the ECW champion.
That's horrible. Who's next? Who else was in it?
CM Punk.
That's great.
Okay, that's okay.
He was in it. Hardcore Holly.
Well, I can't say much about him, but yeah.
Test.
Hey, Test at one point in time could have been world champion.
He could have.
Yeah. And RVD.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had maybe 2 guys who really belonged in there.
And what they had was each guy, went in the pod, but also in the pod was a weapon. So when they come out, another weapon got introduced, which this led to Lashley winning. Which
Lashley, you didn't mention Lashley being in this.
Oh, my bad. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Fuck, that's horrible. That's the worst. That's worse than saying Big Show was in it, is saying that Lashley, with his tiny baby face, was in there.
His tiny baby voice.
Yes, tiny baby face on this massive body.
Yeah.
Which he won the belt and Big Show lost, which this led to Big Show leaving the company for about a year and a half.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I'd leave the company too if I was in that match.
And Heyman left like a day or two after.
He was probably sick to his stomach.
He didn't come back. So like 6 years.
Didn't RVD? He left pretty shortly after that. I think everybody in that match. Well, RVD was kind of around for a little bit.
Yeah.
That entire everybody just quit. Fuck it.
Moving on from a crap thing to something really cool. On December 4th, 2004, we saw the conclusion of one of the greatest feuds in Ring of Honor history. Samoa Joe versus CM Punk 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, wonderful set of matches. If you've never watched them, find a way to watch it. Those are wonderful. The first two matches went to a 60-minute time limit draw. But you don't see that a lot nowadays.
No.
Time limit draws. Which
not 60-minute time limit draws.
Which the first one, you didn't know. And the second one, everyone thought, well, Punk's going to win because it was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd was really behind him, but it went to the draw. And then the third one, Joe won by making Punk tap out at around 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm. I've got that on my Summer of Punk DVD that I got from
Ring
of Honor's website. It's fantastic. I recommend it to anybody. Ring of Honor does DVDs really well. They pack a ton of shit on there for cheap.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, if you go to an event, if they have a DVD, like I went and saw Best in the World, had Nigel McGuinness, his DVD there, and they're like, okay, well, for the next however long, go down there and buy it, and Nigel will sign it for you, and talk to you, or whatever, So Ring of Honor is still real accessible. Their wrestlers are.
Yeah. And sometimes they actually, like older shows, if you want to watch some of the other stuff, they usually have them pretty cheap. Mm-hmm. At the events.
Yeah, and where they are smaller and were less... They were... Like old ECW shows, they weren't distributed everywhere. Sometimes it's your best or only way to see some of these in good quality.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And you can get all this stuff on their website as well, if you're interested. ROHWrestling.com.
Yes.
Yep.
And that about wraps it up in This Week in Wrestling History.
Awesome.
The Figure 5.
Yep, it's the Figure 5. For you first-time listeners, this is the part of the show where we do a top 5 list. Pro wrestling related always. Sometimes serious, sometimes not. Sometimes we get in drag-out fights. Most of the time we just dick around. Throw things off to Matt Pierce. What's tonight's list, Matt?
Tonight's list is top 5 fictional wrestlers.
Top 5 fictional wrestlers.
Yep.
Okay, I already have a couple in mind. What do you got for your number 5?
Number 5. The Green Bastard from Parts Unknown.
Oh, Bubbles. Yeah.
He'll fight you. He don't care.
The Green Bastard will take on any gangly alien trailer park guy around.
Yeah, he will. He wrestles for the Justice in trailer parks.
He does. He does. For those of you who aren't aware of this, the Trailer Park Boys is a hilarious fake reality show. Comes from Canada. Bubbles, with his massive pop bottle glasses, loves wrestling, and his alter ego, wrestling alter ego, is the Green Bastard.
From Parts Unknown.
From Parts Unknown. His wrestling suit consists of basically like a pulled down toboggan with eye holes cut out.
A tarp.
And a tarp for a cape.
Yep.
And like long johns. And Bubbles can get kind of intense. And he will say fuck a lot.
Yeah.
Like almost more than us.
Almost.
So that's a good number 5.
Yeah.
That's a good number. If that's your number 5, I'm looking forward to the rest of this list. What you got at number 4?
Number 4 is a less current guy, Jimmy King from Ready to Rumble, the WCW movie.
Yeah, I actually own this movie on VHS, and I actually watched it a week or two ago.
On VHS.
On VHS.
Because you also own a working VCR.
Yes, and I'm proud of it.
It introduced the triple tier cage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Was they using WCW once?
A couple times.
Twice. Twice enough. There was once, there was DDP, Jeff Jarrett, and David Arquette.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, David Arquette.
Who was the World Heavyweight Champion.
And the star of Ready to Rumble.
Yes. And then they used it another time. It was supposed to be like a War Games thing where it was like Team Booker T or something versus like Team Vince Russo.
Yeah, it was like the New Blood Warriors Club or something.
Yeah, it was weird.
WCW had weird angles toward its death. But Ready to Rumble was like he's a washed up wrestler who some fans find and it's still real to them, damn it, and they just get behind him and it has
it was very much like a Jerry the King Lawler analog, but not.
If Kenny Powers was Jerry King Lawler and completely tame and PG, that's sort of like what he is. Yeah.
Basically, it was like Jerry the King Lawler because they both had King in their name. And they wore crowns.
Yeah?
That's really all I had going for that. I don't have anything to say about Ready to Rumble. I'm just bullshitting this.
His finisher was like the crown or something. There was like a top rope elbow drop or something.
Yeah. Coordination or something, I know.
I forget what it was.
But next up, we have Thunderlips, the Ultimate Male.
Thunderlips at number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Rocky 2?
3.
Rocky 3.
Yeah,
Rocky
I remember growing up, my dad was a big Rocky fan. Mm-hmm. So anytime that one come on, I was want to watch it because Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And I was reading in the Andre the Giant graphic novel, and I was unaware of this, that scene from Rocky where he fights Thunderlips is a version of an actual match that happened in real life between a boxer and Andre the Giant. It went down the same way. Andre tossed him out of the ring. All the stuff exactly the same way.
Didn't Andre fight Muhammad Ali or?
No. He fought on that night. Yeah. Ali was the main event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he was, and I feel bad that I can't remember the name of the boxer. I just read the book.
It's Chuck something, I think. Because there's a really good documentary about him out there. It's also sort of mirrored in.
Yeah, because he was the inspiration for Rocky.
Yeah. He knocked down Ali.
It's because he went full 15. I think it was 15 rounds.
13 or 15. Yeah, he went against Ali. I don't think that he won it, but he went.
No, he didn't win, but he went just like Rocky did.
Just like Rocky did the first one.
With Apollo. Yeah.
Also, it's mirrored though. The Rocky looking up at Thunderlips is mirrored in the Hogan looking up at Andre.
That's true.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Hogan, I feel like, long before NWO existed, I feel like Hogan got to be himself as Thunderlips.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy. If I meet the guy, I would totally be like, I love you, Hulk Hogan, you're awesome. But I feel like he's a douche like Thunderlips.
Well, I do know the guy, and he prances around his apartment all the time in his Thunderlips outfits. I don't know Hulk Hogan. Next, though, we have...
At number 2.
At number 2, probably the most mainstream, legitimate, air quotes, movie containing wrestlers that there is. The Wrestler. It's Randy the Ram Robinson.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke should have got an Oscar. It's robbed.
I'm surprised he's not... we need to continue talking about him.
Yeah.
But now I'm totally wondering who your number 1 is.
You just wait.
Because the fact that the Ram is not number 1. I don't know what to say.
The Ram gave a realistic and very depressing look at the business.
I feel like that's...
Yeah.
That's a lot of the realistic depiction of the business.
That's true.
It seems like for a lot of these guys who have been around for so long and who especially from the 80s, which he was, that didn't put up their money and, and thought it was going to last forever and,
and
can't let it go.
Like the heralded return of Mickey Rourke. It kind of was. He became he's in movies now.
Yeah.
He actually was in a boxing match.
A couple days ago. Yeah, and he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
Whipped the guy's ass.
Yeah. Yep. Doesn't look it at all, by the way. He looks like he's in really good shape.
It's because a lot of his plastic in the face area.
Well, yeah, because he's got a lot of scar tissue from where he used to box full time. They try to cover it up, and you just can't.
Yeah.
Before we get to our number 1, we have the honorable mention. That's Zeus.
From No Holds Barred?
No Holds Barred. Fought the River.
I love Zeus.
Zeus became...
a natural wrestler.
An actual legitimate wrestler.
That's why he's not on the list as an actual number.
Because he went just full-time shows.
Right, because we pride ourselves on accuracy.
Yeah.
But he did start out in No Holds Barred. And I could have put the Ripper on the list, I guess. But the Ripper was essentially Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Thunderlips was its own thing. And also, I feel like more people probably know who Thunderlips are than who know who the Ripper is, you know?
Oh, I know who your number one is. I just realized. It better be. It better be your number one. Tell me your number one.
Are you ready for number one?
I'm ready for number one.
Well, you know who else is ready for number one? Bonesaw is ready for number one.
Yeah,
because he's the only wrestler on this list who beat a superhero.
Yeah,
well,
that's true.
Fought a superhero.
Yeah.
It's true.
Took a superhero to beat him. Bonesaw McGraw, played by the awesome Macho Man Randy Savage, who I don't think was acting that much. I think that pretty much is what Randy Savage
And that's
is.
true. And while I don't want people to get odd, okay, Zeus wasn't a wrestler, then he became a wrestler.
Yeah.
Macho Man was a wrestler, however, he wasn't playing Macho Man Randy Savage.
Right.
He played surprisingly enough, he played a totally different character as Bonesaw.
Yeah. Bonesaw,
Hey, no Slim Jims.
no Slim Jims, no. And the whole thing was, if you survived 3 minutes of Bonesaw, you got a bunch of money.
In a cage.
Yeah.
According to the movie, they put regular people in a cage
With Bonesaw McGraw.
with a maniac.
Yeah. And it took a superhero, Spider-Man, who has strength proportional to a spider. He can pick up cars and smash them people. Even he couldn't beat Bonesaw in a straight fight. He had to web himself to the top of the cage and not fight him. That's the only way to beat the Bonesaw, is to not fight the Bonesaw.
It's true.
So that's why he's number one on the list. Because Thunderlips could have gotten beat by the Spider-Man. You know? Zeus, he could have gotten beat by the Spider-Man. The Green Bastard from Parts Unknown might have taken Spider-Man. I don't know.
Possibly.
But, you know, Randy the Ram Robertson would have had a heart attack.
That's true.
Yeah.
He'd have bladed himself. He don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he don't care.
He'd have bled all over that
He don't
place.
give a shit.
He filed a staple gun with fucking Necro Butcher.
You get dollar stapled to him.
Yeah.
But Bonesaw McGraw, he cared not one fuck bit that was Spider-Man. All he cared about was delivering pain.
That's right. Kicking ass.
Kicking ass.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's go back over the list. At number 5.
Number 5 is the Green Bastard from Parts Unknown.
And number 4.
Number 4 is Jimmy King,
From.
Ready to Rumble.
At number 3.
We got Thunderlips, the Ultimate Male.
Okay. And number 2.
Randy the Ram Robertson from The Wrestler.
And at number 1.
Number 1 is Bonesaw McGraw from Spider-Man.
It's a pretty good figure 5. I'm going to throw in my own honorable mention on this one. The Maniac. For those of you who watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you will know Rowdy Roddy Piper is the Maniac. While there are 0 scenes of him wrestling, there are lots of scenes of him having random chestnuts in the back of his car, telling people he loves them, and being arrested. And I feel like it's fantastic work. I love the fact that Piper does that and pokes fun and doesn't give a shit. You know, he doesn't try to play it up. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, he plays it just like any actor would if they were like, hey, we want you to be this washed up, crazy fucking wrestler. And he does it to a T.
Because he kind of is a washed up, crazy former wrestler.
I feel like he's not washed up.
Well, he's crazy.
Yeah, that is true. Judging from Legends House, however, that's heavily edited.
Yeah.
He does like to roam out into the desert. So, I don't know.
Out the moon.
All right, so that's this week's Figure 5.
TNA Minute.
Well, it's the TNA Minute, where we talk about all things TNA. We give them 60 seconds of coverage, including all of this intro. We haven't done one in forever because they've not been jack shit to talk about, but we've got something now.
They're on Destination America. So, the 5 people in the country who have that channel, you can watch TNA. But the Canadian fan base, I'm sorry, you can't watch it.
Because it's American.
It's not Destination Canada, by God.
That's true. Also, they're getting rid of Mike Tenay for Josh Matthews.
Yep.
So that's something, I guess.
I don't know if that's a bad thing. I like Mike Tenay. I like Josh Matthews, surprisingly enough. I feel like maybe he's a younger voice, can do the social media stuff a little better. He can definitely call play-by-play and have to whore 1,000 products while he's doing it.
I felt they should get rid of Taz. They should just done Tenay and Matthews and got rid of Taz.
Yeah.
Well, I felt they should.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know. Then it'd be a couple straight men, so I'm not sure. But who cares? Because you know what? Minute's up.
It's the pre-preview.
This is the very first of our pre-preview segments where we give a preview to an upcoming wrestling pay-per-view. We've done these in the past in the intros, and they run real long, and I feel like they need their own segment. So here it is. Tonight, though, we're not talking about a WWE pay-per-view. That's a week or two away from now. We're covering Ring of Honor. We'll throw things off to Hoagie, who's going to give us the rundown of Ring of Honor Final Battle.
Yes, Final Battle, which will take place this Sunday, December 7th on pay-per-view. Let's run down the card. The first match, Roderick Strong versus Adam Page. The basis of this match is they were both together in the Decade, along with B.J. Whitmer and Jimmy Jacobs. Roderick Strong didn't like how things were going with them, how they treated people and everything, so he left them. And now Adam Page is wanting to go after Roddy and interfere with the matches and everything. I just got done watching Glory by Honor, which was their last show they did. And Adam Page and B.J. Whitmer actually cost Roddy a match against Kazarian, actually.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's going to be a pretty good match. Both men are both good wrestlers. And it's just that kind of hate they're going to have against each other that makes it even better.
Should be nice, intense.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. And Roddy Strong, a big fan of, has really solid technical matches. But a lot of times he kind of puts a twist on it. He'll brawl a little bit here and there sometimes. And I like him. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Second match is R.D. Evans versus Moose. These two, not too long ago, were actually a tag team. Way it got broke down, though, was at Glory by Honor. R.D. Evans, which he was in a streak where he went 173-0.
173-0.
Yes.
Not seen since the likes of Goldberg.
Yeah, which is actually the same number as Goldberg.
Oh.
They actually mentioned this. And it was for the TV title, which against Jay Lethal. And R.D. Evans had Veda Scott and Ramon out there with him, and Jay had Truth Martini. Halfway through the match, which is a really good match, actually, surprisingly. And halfway through the match, all the managers get ejected for trying to get involved. So it's just the two of them fighting it out, and there's a spot happen where the ref gets knocked down. Out comes Moose. So we're thinking he's going to help RD. It looks like he's going after Jay Lethal, and Jay Lethal kind of just cowers in the corner, all scared and everything, and he turns around and spears R.D. Evans. Like, everyone's in shock, and Jay Lethal goes for the pin, the ref gets back up, and counts to 1, 2, 3.
So he didn't even use a taser to end the streak?
No. Which, I say getting hit by Moose would be kind of like getting hit by a taser.
Yeah,
as
Moose
big as he is.
Moose is a big dude.
And Lethal managed to keep the title with the
true.
House of Truth.
Yeah.
Which I figured going into this, they're not going to probably not going to give him the belt. This goes to the Final Battle. But they may keep the streak. So they might have had like a DQ or count out or something like that.
Yeah, just had Lethal run out.
There's some craziness happened. Moving on, the next match, Michael Elgin versus Tommaso Ciampa.
That is going to be a fucking brutal match.
Yes, it is, because Ciampa wants some revenge. And because Elgin cost Ciampa the survival of the fittest match, which Adam Cole won to become the number one contender. During the match, Elgin came out, did some distractions, kind of beat up Ciampa a little bit, costing him to get eliminated. So honestly, they're going to probably beat the shit out of one another. And I believe the winner of this, if they decide not to continue on with Jay Briscoe and Adam Cole, the winner of this will be the number one contender for the Ring of Honor World title. The way it's going.
I feel like Ciampa eventually is going to have to get it.
Yeah.
It seems like his character's entire run for the past while has been can't win the TV title. Can't be a number one, can't win the big one. Basically, a Sami Zayn mirror from NXT, except in the more I'm going to rip your face off kind of way.
An angry Sami Zayn.
And then Elgin never got his rematch, where he got beaten for the title a while back at All-Star Extravaganza to Jay Briscoe.
And that whole Elgin, just the entire Elgin situation is so odd.
It is.
Yeah, I saw him win the belt in person, and you're like, oh, this is a guy that they're going to, he's a big dude who they're going to ride for a while, and not even like 6 months later, he's not champion anymore.
And Ring of Honor generally does ride their champions.
Yeah.
Their belt doesn't just get passed.
Yeah, Cole, Adam Cole had it for almost a year.
Yeah.
Because he won it, I think it was towards the end of the year, and then kept it till Best in the World this year.
Well, Steen had it for a long time
Yeah,
also.
Steen had it for a pretty good while.
Until Jay Briscoe beat him.
Yeah. Next match, no build-up with this match, but honestly, I believe it will be a match that will steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 6-man tag.
Okay.
The Young Bucks and ACH versus the Addiction, Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, and Cedric Alexander.
That is going to be a high-flying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It probably will steal the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super kick parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Well,
good.
I think All-Star Extravaganza, that match that the Young Bucks had with Red Dragon, that stole the show.
Yeah.
So Young Bucks can do it. I mean, they can go.
Yeah.
They can really go.
And speaking of Red Dragon, they're up next. Red Dragons versus the Time Splitters, which is Alex Shelley and Kushida from New Japan.
Uh-huh.
This is for the Ring of Honor title.
Oh,
Which-
Okay. Now, they've still got...
They still have the IWGP titles also.
Okay.
Which they won from the Time
Yeah,
Splitters.
yes. Which what happened with that? They had went to Japan. Red Dragon did, and won the Super Junior Tag Tournament. And after that, they pretty much became number one contenders for the IWGP Junior Tag titles. Because over there's 2 sets of tag belts. There's a junior one and then the big one,
Yeah.
which believe Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows still
Yeah,
have.
yeah. It's pretty much only for heavyweights. Like,
Yeah,
they really
the big
keep
guys.
to their weight divisions in Japan.
Yeah.
Which, so this time though, it's the Title Splitters coming to America to fight Red Dragon for the Ring of Honor titles, which I think will be a pretty good, solid match.
And for those of you who are unaware of who the Time Splitters are, they are Marty McFly from Back to the Future.
Yeah, they actually wear
Yeah.
the vest.
The bubble
and everything.
vest and everything. Yep.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
Yep.
And for those of you who don't know who Red Dragon are, they are badass motherfuckers.
Yes. Yes, they are. Bobby
Yes, they
Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Next up is the TV title, which will be Matt Sydal, as a lot of people know, as Evan Bourne, taking on Jay Lethal. This match,
With Truth Martini.
Truth Martini. Got
You can never discount Truth Martini.
Got to have that House of Truth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which Truth started out kind of scouting Matt Sydal because he felt he was a true threat. Possibly the TV title. They actually attacked his brother.
Yeah.
Matt Sydal's
Brutally
brother.
attacked him
Yeah,
before show.
yeah. So Matt Sydal is going to be out for revenge, and I mean, I don't know how this match is really going to go.
I feel like Ring of Honor doesn't do the whole guy comes in, wins the belt right away.
That's true.
Yeah,
Because Aaron and Daniels didn't.
that's true.
That's true.
So,
first
Jay's
match
had
was-
that belt for a while, though.
He's had it since earlier this year. He beat Ciampa when he joined the House of Truth.
yeah.
Is when that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like he's the sort of institution. He's the senior reigning champion right now, I think.
Yeah.
Well, him or Red Dragon 1 is... I'm not sure who's held their belts for longer, but...
I think Jay has, because Red Dragon won it at what was it? War of the Worlds or Global Wars? So they had 2 back-to-back shows with New Japan,
think it
and
was
that's
Global Wars.
yeah. There's when
Yeah.
they won the tag belts. Red Dragon did.
I don't know. My prediction for this match, and this is just from like the storyline point of view, which Ring of Honor, I mean, I'd really watch it for that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bonus
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get to know the wrestlers, but it's not their point. It's not like WWE where that's a big factor and the match is just like the payoff of a storyline.
Yeah.
But I feel like Truth has this thing where, like, he can't have the TV title out of his grasp. And I think maybe he flips with Matt and he betrays Jay and
Could be.
and then
Could be.
Jay could team up with Matt Taven or something and go
Yeah.
after, you know.
Yeah.
Because they've done this with Jay Lethal. They also did it with Matt Taven
Yep.
when he became the
Yep.
TV champ.
Yeah. It's almost like Truth Martini is the TV champion all the time,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and other people wrestle for him.
Yeah.
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 And so I could see that happening with him. Or, they just do the deal where maybe his brother shows up and helps get into this stuff, and maybe his brother, who they attacked,
Joins
or distracts and helps him win the title from Jay that way,
Yeah, I don't know.
Goes after Truth and Jay. I don't know.
I feel like Matt Sydal is a guy that they kind of want to build up.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big enough name that people will recognize him, like Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
So he might take it. I don't know.
But Ring of Honor, of course, Ring of Honor too. I'll give them that. They don't do a lot of these bullshit endings, so this could all just be pure. I mean, sure, it's speculation.
Unlike what Vince McMahon thinks, Ring of Honor actually believes that their belt means something.
That's true.
So they won't just throw them around to people.
No,
people get the belt and they keep the belt.
Which Matt Sydal had been there before.
Yeah, I feel like that's some good credit for him.
Yeah.
Next up is the main event: Adam Cole versus Jay Briscoe. Fight with no honor, which is pretty much anything goes.
It's pretty much a Jay Briscoe match anyway. Because,
which it's going to be weapons, people beating the shit out of one another,
non-stop run-ins.
Yeah, I say we're going to see if they're back from Japan. We'll see the other members of the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Michael Bennett, which they're over there and competing in some kind of tag tournament right now.
You see Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, Mark Briscoe.
Maybe Papa Briscoe.
I don't know about that. Probably Hanson from War Machine.
Oh, okay.
More than likely, because he kind of helps them out sometimes.
Yeah.
And honestly, I believe the winner of the Elgin Ciampa match will have something to do with this match. There will some kind of run-in, interference.
Or maybe a beatdown afterwards.
Yeah, because if it's Elgin, I could see Elgin on two sides. One being, okay, Jay beat me for my belt. I want beat him back to get my belt back. And then there's the other part where I beat Adam Cole before. I can meet him again.
And he cut my mullet off.
That's true.
That's true.
He did.
And if my choice is to fight anybody else on the planet in Jay Briscoe, I pick anybody else on the planet because Jay Briscoe is crazy.
Yeah.
If you don't know who he is, picture like your crazy uncle that at Thanksgiving or Christmas is probably going to be a little bit lit. Now take him, make him in outstanding shape, and extremely violent. That's Jay Briscoe.
Yeah. I believe it'll be a war, which they've had many wars before.
Yeah.
Their feud started back last year when Jay had won the belt and he had to be stripped of it because of injury.
Yeah, Jay never was pinned for the belt.
Yeah, that's true. And Cole ended up winning it. And I set up their feud, which we all thought that feud was over. At, I believe it was Supercard of Honor this year, they had a ladder match for which they had the real Ring of Honor world title and then Jay Briscoe's world title.
Which is now the title of love.
Yes, that's true. Michael Bennett has that. It's all furry and pink.
Melina gyrates on it. And not Maria. I'm sorry, not Melina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel it's going to be a really good pay-per-view. I plan on watching it. My wife suggested us going to this. And I about took her up on it, but couldn't afford it.
You should have recorded it and called her on it.
I thought about it, but...
Yeah.
Okay, so, for the world title, without going into specifics, who do you call as the winner?
Honestly, Jay Briscoe.
Jay Briscoe. What about you, Matt?
I don't know. I feel like Adam Cole's a more marketable guy. But I also kind of think Ring of Honor doesn't care about that. I think Jay keeps it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate and say Adam Cole. Because I feel like... I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to go with that. Because if Elgin is number one contender, I feel like that's the way to go.
Yeah.
If it's Ciampa, oh man, him and Jay Briscoe tear it up.
They'd beat the fuck out of one another.
Elgin and Jay would tear it up too.
Yeah, but I feel like you're right. With the history with Adam Cole with Elgin, I feel like makes for more...
Yeah.
Interesting,
Yeah, that's true.
And I also feel like that kind of the reason that Jay got a shot at the belt back so quickly was because he never was pinned for the belt. Mm-hmm. I mean, it never happened. He could have been champion for a year. We don't know what could have happened.
Yeah.
But turned out to be he hurt his shoulder, had to give the belt up. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I could see them keeping it on Jay just because he's like the guy.
Yeah.
Like he's day one. But Adam Cole is not a bad pick either, so it can go either way.
Yeah. Be good.
Really
Be a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome. Well, that's it for the very first pre-preview.
The $9.99 Match of the Week.
And we're back once again with the $9.99 Match of the Week, where we find a hidden gem somewhere on the WWE Network and pass it along to you. I recently found out that Stone Cold Steve Austin does this exact same fucking thing on his podcast. We didn't copy him, but I guess if we're copying anybody, I guess he'd be a good one to go by.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Does he do it better than us? I don't know. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I feel like he does everything better than us. Except for audio quality. I think you can give us that one. But anyway, we're going to keep things going. So this week's $9.99 Match of the Week comes from one of Matt Pierce's picks. Let's go with it.
It is it's Nitro number 53. It's September 16th, 1996, and it is the Horsemen, Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, versus the unforgettable tag team of Chris Jericho and Marcus Alexander Bagwell, who they were calling buff, but he really wasn't buff yet. He was more post-American Males. Don't really have a place in the company, Buff Bagwell.
So, this is Flair and Arn Anderson.
4 Horsemen.
Two of the greatest, especially as a team, as a unit, against Chris Jericho and Buff Bagwell.
Yes, sir. Main event.
Main event.
Main event of the evening.
Okay.
You paid hard money.
And this Jericho, I imagine, is still cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
Jericho.
Yeah. Not the not Raw's Jericho. It's just
and
Jericho.
Buff Bagwell. Were they? I mean, leading up to this, was there any type of storyline linking these two together? Why was this match made?
Funny thing that I don't think that WCW knew. The story was, this is the Raw after the War Games where the NWO Sting showed up.
Okay.
And so this is the Raw where Sting shows up and turns his back on the camera, sort of quits, tells everybody they can stick it, except for the real Stinger fans, because he's still a good guy. And they kind of implied that he was supposed to be in the main event, but because he quit, this is what we get instead.
So it was like a thrown together thing that wasn't a thrown together thing.
Yeah.
It was to make you believe that, we'll just grab a couple guys at the back, fuck it, give them to Flair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, tell us more about the match.
Well, I would love to, but as soon as the match started, Six,
that would be
a.k.a. X-Pac, a.k.a. Six-Pac, a.k.a. 123 Kid, stands up, reveals himself to be the 6th member of the NWO. Funny, good thing he had the name Six.
Yeah.
Pushes a button.
Okay.
And then flyers start fucking fall from the roof.
So did he stand up, tongue out of his mouth, bandana on, holding up
shopping,
holding up some giant fucking remote?
It looked like a fucking 1970s sci-fi push this button you destroy the world, kill James Bond button. Or like a button you'd use for a skyjack to make it move, back and forth.
Like a button you'd push to call Glacier forth from the nether.
It's also Glacier's debut. He kicked the fuck up in Bubba Rogers. That's all he did. But all these propaganda flyers started falling down.
For the NWO.
For the NWO, yeah. Who the announcers were really angry about. Especially Eric Bischoff, who I guess was an NWO plant at this point. I don't know. It's dumb.
Yeah,
he was announcer for a while.
He hadn't turned yet, no, but I don't know. It's dumb. So instead of watching the match, the main event of the evening, which I'm sure the fans there loved, we get treated to a backstage segment of the NWO coming out of the limousine at the very end of the show with a little tiny 1990s closed-circuit television watching the show, laughing, and then the NWO Fate Sting comes out, and they all make fun of the Stinger, and it's just dumb.
So, this match of yours, which is the $9.99 Match of the Week, was there an actual match going on?
There was a match going on. I chose it for a couple of reasons. First, everybody likes to look back on the NWO period, and it's a huge, and it was big for the people involved in NWO, and for people in the main event scene, but for guys like Jericho and Buff, who were trying to, go out there and work, they were completely buried by the NWO.
Or in this case, even Flair and
Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, who were the Four Horsemen. Mm-hmm. The other two members of the Horsemen had a match earlier in the night.
Yeah.
So they were still the Four Horsemen, were buried by the NWO. So it's like, yeah, that was good, but it was at the expense of a lot of good you already had. Mm. So that's one reason I chose it. The other reason I chose it is Flair, for all my life in wrestling, has put people in the figure four, and people will thrash about, and they'll lay down their back, and the referee start to count. Mm-hmm. They always kick out, because you're just in the figure four, you roll your arms up. Ric Flair, Arn Anderson hit a DDT, which finish move at the time.
Yeah.
And then Ric Flair puts Buff in the figure four.
Okay.
Pins him with the figure four leg lock.
Wow. Not tapping out. Pins
him.
That's awesome.
Shoulders on mat.
He just laid there with flat-backed, with his legs being broken.
Yep.
Just laid there. Fuck it.
The only time, I'm sure it's happened other times than that.
Yeah.
Like people winning matches with sleeper holds. I've heard that's happened before.
Yeah. Well, according to Flair, he practically has never won a match in the figure four.
He's also never hit it. Whatever there is from top rope.
Yeah.
Like Ric Flair could hit that. I'm sure it's like a Dragon Rana or like, I don't know what the fuck he'd do. But he probably just throw himself off the top rope.
Yeah.
But yeah, fucking pinned.
Pin somebody with a figure four.
Yeah. Pin somebody with a figure four leg lock. I feel like that's an achievement.
Now, the entire time during this, were the announcers talking about the match at all?
Not really. No. It was also like it was Bischoff and it was Bischoff and Shivani and Bobby. Bobby did act like he was kind of irritated about the fact that they weren't really talking about the match.
Yeah.
But it was also he hated the NWO because he hates Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Like with a burning fiery passion.
And he's a big Flair guy.
He's a huge Flair guy. Yeah. I don't know. It was just dumb. It was worse than anything WWE's done lately, which is saying a lot. As far as ignoring what's going on in the ring, the main event of the evening, I actually watched one of the opening matches was Conan defending the they call it the Mexican title. It's the AAA title championship of the Americas, but WCW called it the Mexican Championship. So they had good matches.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about any of them.
Yeah, and it was all just whatever the storyline for the night was with the
WWF. And Six they had interviewed him earlier in the evening, and he's like, I just bought a ticket. I'm just here, guys. But I don't know. He stands up, and he pushes that button, and then each flyer, I don't know if you remember the NWO, but they had a bunch of like rules and bones and maybe broken.
I slightly remember the NWO.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like the sayings that they had, They had like rules and bones and maybe broken, and whatever else they said. So each one said something different. Bischoff picked up a couple and read them off.
Yeah.
The whole time the matches go on in the ring, guys are working their asses off to impress people, and no one cares. But the real thing that struck out at me was I was just watching the Nitro, and it was over, and I'm like, he won the figure four from a pin. I'd never seen that, so that's why it struck out to me. I mean, it's not a monumental moment in history or anything, but
honestly, I cannot think of any other occurrence of this. Because I think there was one time, maybe with Savage, but I think the Savage was just knocked out. Yeah, and they said he stopped it.
Yeah.
Dude did not tapping out, just passed out from the time.
And I made a joke about sleeper hold. I can remember 2 matches ending with sleeper holds. Triple H beat Jeff Hardy with sleeper hold. And then
Piper
lost
Hogan.
Piper and Hogan, yeah.
It was, I believe it was Starrcade 96.
That's what Piper lived in Alcatraz for a week.
Well, Jesus, $1 Million Man, wasn't that his
well, it was the $1 Million Dream.
Yeah.
I was like, he won 1,000 fucking moves.
It wasn't a sleeper hold, though.
It was kind of a variation of the sleeper.
It was the amped up version of the sleeper hold. It was the $1 million version of the sleeper hold.
They had the technology. They can make it stronger. But yeah, I mean, it's not nothing earth-shattering or war-breaking unless you ask Six. I'm sure he's like, oh, this is when I saved the NWO. But
yeah, he's like, hey, you want to see why I slept with China?
No, nobody wants to see that.
But I've seen it because you know what? When it comes to wrestling, I'll watch all of it, even the grossest, most depraved, horribly filmed, grossest. I'll just keep saying grossest. possible variations.
That's right, guys. And if he'll watch a fucking bid show match, he'll watch China porn. I mean,
That's right. I don't care.
But yeah, I mean, it's not earth-shattering or anything, but it stuck out my mind. Something I'd never seen, and I saw it.
Now, there you go. And you know what? That's the whole point of this.
Yep.
So there you go. That's this week's $9.99 match of the week. And that's it. Another episode of Developmental Talent all wrapped up. Not really much more going on this week. Usually we have a bunch of bullshit to chat about right now. However, I will say I have this giant, badass Stone Cold Steve Austin statue from McFarlane Toys in front of me. We recorded a review for it. You'll be able to check it out on freaksugar.com, so be sure to do that. And then you're probably going to want to order one of these things. Where can you order it? You can find out when you watch the fucking video review on freaksugar.com, like I just said. There we go. That's it for me, Lemon Juice McGee.
And the fighting man, Matt Pierce.
And Ho You Masters.
And there you go. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to Developmental Talent, but the show doesn't stop here. For more insane ramblings, be sure to check us out on social media. The links are conveniently listed in the text. Also, feel free to send your hatred, praise, and suggestions